Hi, welcome back to another video. This week we're going to be doing something very exciting, something that I've always wanted to do, but I was always like, I don't have time for that. I don't need to do that. But I think we've gotten to the point where I do need to do it. And that is going to be replacing my screen time with reading. Unfortunately, 2025 hasn't been the best reading year for me so far. I've really kind of been slacking. I've been slacking and I don't want to slack anymore. So I'm going to take a screenshot of my screen time for either this week or last week. It's almost 4 hours on average a day. And I'm gonna try to replace that with reading. It's gonna be really extremely hard, but I'm gonna try my best. And hopefully within a week, we can kind of sort of catch up on my reading goals. I have a short but sweet TBR that I want to get to this week. The first of which is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, which is the third book in the Emily Wilde series. I started it this morning. I'm 18 pages in. It says it'll take me 6.4 hours to finish it, so we'll see. I'm actually listening to The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab on audiobook. So when I go to the gym, I like to listen to an audiobook on like 2 times speed. So I think I'm about 25 or 30% of the way through this. I'm gonna include audiobooks in this challenge as well. I'm gonna start with these 2 books and I will update you if the TBR changes once I finish these. Today is Saturday. I do have some filming, some gaming filming that I have to get to. And then I have about like 2 hours. 2 hours of reading to do as well. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. So we'll see. I've got a packed schedule and I will keep you updated on how it goes. Hopefully we can kind of replace my screen time with reading. I will note that I do film all of my vlog content on my phone. So the reason my screen time is high is partially because of that. But I've also been very bad on social media as well and spent way too much time on there. Even if I don't get to the, 3-4 hours a day, I'll still be happy with like a good consistent reading regimen so that I can get back on track because that's the goal. All right, let's get into it. Hi y'all, happy Sunday. Sorry for not updating at all on Saturday. Yesterday I ended up reading just over an hour. It wasn't great, but today I've read also about an hour. According to my Kobo, I have, why am I holding it like that? I have about 4 hours to go, 21% of the way through. And since this is a third book in a series, I really can't say too much about it for spoiler purposes. But what I will say is that if you love almost like a Howl's Moving Castle, like Howl and Sophie dynamic, where it's very chummy and like comfortable and familiar, and one of them is a little bit more pragmatic and like serious, and the other one's a little bit more silly and whimsical, then I think you'll like the dynamic in these books. Also, I think the writing is just very funny. I like kind of a dry sense of humor, and the female protagonist definitely has, I think, a good sense of humor, and they bounce off each other very well. But with that being said, if you are looking for a spring read, I would say that the second and third books of the series are quite springy. The first one is very wintry, but this one is like very lovely. You have really nice descriptions of the fairylands, the fairy realm, and like beautiful castles. I'm gonna read a little bit more now. I'm probably gonna read for about an hour. I haven't been feeling very good today. I'm like, the brain fog is just so out of control. I kind of canceled a bunch of things that I was gonna do today. So hopefully I can just relax and like do some reading, and we'll see how far we can get. I didn't film this yesterday, but my mom and I went to a jeweler and we got, well, the black beaded one is one that I already had from my boyfriend. Okay, the gold chain is permanent. It has no clasp on it. I took my mom as like an early Mother's Day gift / birthday gift to this local jeweler who does the cute like permanent bracelets. And now I think I'm addicted and I want like a whole arm stack of permanent bracelets. So yeah, that's the update. I'm gonna get to reading and I will update you later. read for an hour and are now on page 304 out of 809. That is about 38% of the way through. Not bad, not bad. So that's about 2 hours of reading for Sunday. I'll see if I can get an hour of reading in tonight as well, but no guarantees. Again, the goal is maybe not to like completely replace my screen time, because my screen time is like, it's like nuanced, because some of it is social media, sure, but some of it is also filming. So it's like, what really is screen time, you know? So I think just having the intention of reading, like really locking in and reading this week, is something that I'll be satisfied with. So far, the plot has grown to be very political, and if there's one thing I love, it is fairy politics, because they are just so slippery, those slippery tricksters. Yeah, it's enjoyable so far. There seems to be more action than I remember there being in the first 2 books, and it's just kind of like Emily and Wendell like navigating a whole new scenario. Again, not to give out spoilers. We'll see how quickly I can finish this book, and then I will start on another book, which will probably be Son of the Shadows by Juliette Marillier, because I've already started, but I'm only about a chapter in, so it's kind of embarrassing. Y'all, I didn't vlog it, but I finished this book, and I'm fucking suffering. I truly have no words. I wish I had words, because I want everybody to read this book. I literally read it in the span of a day. I read the first chapter like many months ago, and then I kind of just didn't touch it, because I will say the chapters of these books are extremely long, so it can make it kind of hard to, jump in for like little spurts here and there. But I basically finished it in like 24 hours. I could not put it down. I'm sick to my stomach at the thought of having to read another book after this. Impromptu little review. This is the second book to the Daughter of the Forest, Seven Waters trilogy by Juliette Marillier. It follows the characters from the first book's daughter. Her name is Leodan. Basically, they live in this magical forest. Their family are the custodians of this magical forest that is highly connected to like the Fae realm, and it's based on Irish mythology. There is a lot of romance and family dynamics, and oh my god, the romance! Y'all, don't even get me started on the romance. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. They're enchanting. They make you forget that you're reading, which is like the highest praise I think you can give a book. I'm blown away and so jealous of the fact that there is just like a woman out there who conjured all of this up from her own imagination, and that these characters aren't actually real, because to me they are real. I can't speak highly enough of it. I think Juliette Marillier and Robin Hobb are excellent female authors to read if you want to read classic feeling fantasy without, without all the problems that comes with it when you read it from a male's point of view. Really good, strong female characters, complex characters. The male characters are good. Everybody just has so much depth to them. The writing is beautiful, and it makes me want to go live in a forest by a lake and just like garden and sew and use herbs to heal things and have like 100 babies. So that's kind of weird, but anyway, highly recommend. But if I could finish that would be great. Let's see if I can finish 2 books in 1 week. 2 physical books plus an audiobook. We'll see. Howdy, y'all. It's been a little bit. My apologies. It's Tuesday. I keep thinking it's Wednesday, but it's Tuesday. I didn't do very much reading on Monday. Reason being, I had a long workout, and then after work, I cleaned the apartment for a couple hours. So while I didn't read Emily Wilde, I did listen to my audiobook for 3 hours, and that was The Fragile Threads of Power. I will say I started reading The Rag Picker King by Cassandra Clare, and then I didn't finish it and it got returned to the library, so I'm on hold again. So who knows when I'll get to that. But there was this discourse when Swordcatcher first came out, the first book in the series, that it had some similarities to V.E. Schwab's Darker Shade of Magic series. And I have read the original trilogy, and I didn't really pick up on that comparison other than they both have main characters that are named Kel, until I started Rag Picker King while listening to The Fragile Threads of Power. And then the general settings were so similar. Like, it was only a little bit that I read, but I'm confused. I'm like, what book am I listening to again? So I think there is some overlap. But about Emily Wilde, I am 47% of the way through. I did some reading on Sunday night, really liking it so far. It has a lot of like fairy politics in this third book. I think I mentioned it before, but you're following Emily Wilde, Wendell's family, and relations, which is fun. Also the place that he grew up in. I won't say more than that. It does take place over the course of many months, starting in the winter, but you're not necessarily in like a wintry environment, so it can pass for a spring novel, I will say that. I'm hoping to do some more reading this evening, physical reading, because I've done 0 hours today so far, but I've just been busy. It's been a lot harder than I thought. The next thing I wanted to do today was hang up some curtains, because I'll show you, I ordered a tension rod that is indeed long enough to go in this room, so we're gonna see if it works and if I can hang curtains. Because I also hung curtains in the dining room, and I think they look pretty good, but I think I'm gonna swap out the colors. Let's go ahead and do that. I was working on putting up the curtains, and one thing about me is that I will get myself ready. I will do my hair, put on like a cute outfit. You know, she's working around her house, she's hanging curtains, she's in her soft girl aesthetic, you know, elf core, working around my little cottage. But in reality, I have like rage issues whenever it comes to any kind of home project. So yeah, we're dealing with that. I have indeed hung up the curtains. I think they look rather cute. The rod goes all the way across, and while I do have my 0.5 lens on right now, this is a large room, and I did indeed put it up myself. So yeah, I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. I'm just fucking relieved that it actually worked and is staying up. And then we switched the beige curtains that were originally in the dining room with the green curtains, which you saw. I just think the beige is nicer in here because I already kind of have like some color and like some green. Ow! Granny needs to fold her laundry, so fold my laundry with me. I think since I have a strict bedtime, I'm just gonna put these cloths away and I'm just gonna relax and do some reading for the rest of the night. Now, it won't be my 3 hours. It'll be more like maybe 1 hour, and we're just gonna have to be satisfied with that. Hi y'all, it's Wednesday. I thought we could taste test a new flavor of bubbly that I got. It's the orange cream flavor, so I'm assuming it will be like a creamsicle. Cheers. Yeah, that's good. If you like creamsicles, then this is a very, very nice flavor. Gotta hold you. So here's the sitch. It's about 2:30 on Wednesday. I need to do a bunch of watering of these guys. Once I water, I have to do some work and I have to cook something for like lunch/dinner. It'll probably be pasta. A huge thing that I wanted to do today is I wanted to finish Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. If I finish Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, then that means I can start my second book, which I think for the purposes of this vlog, I'm gonna read The River Has Roots, which I think it's a novella. So I think we could start and finish 2 books in this vlog, which would be nice. I'm literally the worst with my plants. I work at a plant company, but I can't for the life of me be bothered to water and take care of my own. Ooh, also, let me show you the curtains in the daytime. It's so nice in here now. Okay, this is how the curtains are looking. You can see, obviously, the rod goes all the way across. But it's actually, in person, it's not that conspicuous, so I'm quite happy with it. And then the curtains, they go all the way down, and then they just cast this really lovely diffused light when the sun is shining. I am quite pleased indeed. Y'all, I just tried playing 2 different games, and it was a huge bust. I don't want to name names because these games are not bad, but one of them pissed me off. And then the other one, I played like over an hour of, and I wasn't enjoying myself. But that could have just been because these headphones were pinching my head and my hair, or the mechanics were finicky and I just wasn't feeling patient enough. Either way, I might go back to it at a later time, but I am a little disappointed because I wanted to have some content made. So now I have to think of something else. But whatever, it's not a big deal. Who cares? I'm just annoyed because I wanted to start a new series. Now I have to tidy up. For the rest of the night, I'm just gonna read, I think, because I need to get some of this rage. The rage I'm raging needs to simmer the hell down a little bit. Oh, maybe I'll do some coloring as well. That might be nice. Okay. Okay, sorry, I don't have my mic on me right now. We're coloring and watching some You and Black Mirror. I have to wait for my boyfriend to get home before we finish off You because we're watching it together, but I was just catching up on something that I missed. I don't know if the clips that I filmed when attempting to play the games earlier today will ever see the light of day, but I just have to say that I was very disappointed by Undertale and how when I tried to complete an additional ending, I realized that apparently I had screwed up at some point despite my best efforts to follow the game precisely, and that results in me not being able to get the ending. Even though I did pretty much everything else that you're supposed to do, there was this one other thing that I didn't do, and now I'm locked out of the ending, and if I want to get that ending, I'm gonna have to play the whole game again. It's 8 hours down the drain. Maybe when I start streaming, I'll do that, getting the proper ending. But boy, I was very disappointed. Also, these alcohol markers that I got are quite lovely and satisfying to use, but they bleed a ton on the page. Like if you're just using regular paper, they not only bleed through the page, but they also feather out a lot. So your line work, I mean, my swatches and my line work is just shit because it's bleeding out from the lines. Anyway, I'm gonna color for a little bit, do a few more of these, and then we're gonna read for the rest of the night. Good morning, y'all. It is Friday morning, and I just finished Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, little mini review. I think I could read, anything about these characters and be happy because I just love Emily and Wendell so much. I do think that this one might have been the weakest of the three, just based on the plotting and the pacing. It felt a little bit erratic and a little bit choppy. We kind of start out the third book with this central problem that involves Wendell's family and Wendell and Emily kind of tracking somebody down and fixing a curse, and it's solved within the first half of the book, and then there's another little mystery added on, and then another problem, and then another problem, and then the latter half of the book kind of just gets choppy with problem, convenient solution, problem, convenient solution. If you're reading a book because you want the writing and the plotting and everything to be masterfully done, then I don't think that this is it. But if you're reading it just for the good vibes and the funny characters and for the banter, then I think this book does a good job at it. And you're following everything in diary entries by Emily because she's a scholar, so she's recording everything that happens. And her narrative voice is very good. It's very strong. Yeah, this book was the third final book of the series, and it was nice to read and nice to kind of be back with the characters. But in terms of was this the best of the series? I don't really think so. But I am happy to have read it. So kind of along with that genre, I think I'm gonna actually pick up The River Has Roots, which I've heard is kind of a fairy tale-esque novella that includes fairies, and it follows two sisters. Yeah, I have it on loan from the library, so I think I'm gonna read that, probably read that today. And I will let you know my thoughts on that one, because I think that kind of sticking with the same theme, at least for this video, would be fun. And basically just ignoring my entire physical TBR. Okay, next book on the agenda, The River Has Roots by Amal El Mohtar. And I will read you the blurb. So Holly Black says, this is a half delicious murder ballad, half beguiling love story. I like the sounds of that. Oh, what is stronger than a death? Two sisters singing with one breath. In the small town of Thistleford, on the edge of Fairy, dwells the mysterious Hawthorne family. There they tend and harvest the enchanted willows and honor an ancient compact to sing to them in thanks for their magic. None more devotedly than the family's latest daughters, Esther and Isabel, who cherish each other as much as they cherish the ancient trees. But when Esther rejects a forceful suitor in favor of a lover from the land of Fairy, not only the sisters' bond, but also their lives will be at risk. Oh! Ooh. So this is the same author that wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War. So I already know that the writing is going to be chef's kiss. And on my e-reader, it says it is 215 pages. So that's not too bad because the pages are small. We will read this in short bursts throughout the day. But for now, I have to go to the gym. Oh, goodness. Happy Saturday. It is around 2:30. We're about to head out on a little walk, but I was just gonna do my makeup real quick. And I also finished The River Has Roots. this morning as well. It was shorter than I thought it would be. It was only about like 150 pages on my e-reader because the last 50 were a preview of a different book. I must say that I indeed loved it. I thought that the writing of that author is really quite majestic and beautiful and lyrical. It kind of takes place, I mean, what you read in the blurb is very true to what you get. It very much has like a fairy tale vibe to the story, which I love. It's romantic and quite touching, the relationship between the sisters, despite it being short and like kind of ambitious. I think that it's very transportive. If you like reading kind of like fae-centered stories, I highly recommend checking that one out. Second coffee. So we've read 2 books together. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a bookish reset today as well. So kind of going over my Goodreads goal, reflecting on like the number of books I've read so far, just to kind of hold myself accountable, and also just review my physical bookshelves and see if there's anything that I want to prioritize or knock off the TBR. Because yeah, the longer it takes me to get to a book, the more my preferences kind of fluctuate. I'm very much a mood reader in that regard. I also have fallen into the trap of online shopping. I'm trying not to spend or be enticed. Like it's inevitable that there's gonna be certain things that I'm gonna need to buy, you know, like basic everyday things, but I'm trying not to be enticed to like get new summer clothes. But I did place a little order actually at Hollister because I have a dress from there that I quite like, not because it's like super high quality or anything, but because it is so comfortable and flattering. And I feel like the flattering dresses I have usually aren't that comfortable. So I wanted to see if they had any more in that kind of style, and it's kind of like the milkmaid style that people make fun of these days, but I mean, it's flattering. So I did find one, and I ordered it because I wanted to see if it was gonna be comfortable. I don't think it's the same fabric as the one I currently have. They're quite fair in price as well, and they frequently go on sale, so I'm not too mad about it, especially if it like fits good and all that. I'll probably show that in my next video, but I'm not going to be buying anything else clothing wise because I really don't need it. It's annoying online shopping because you might be like, oh, I need a new sports bra, or like, oh, I need a top to go with this specific, like I have a skirt that has like very few top options that I can wear with it. So whenever I see a top that I like, I'm like, ooh, I should get that because I could wear it with the skirt, but I could also wear it with a bunch of other bottoms and it would work. But then it's like you don't want to just buy one thing because then you have to pay for shipping and it's just like a hassle. Toxic girl math. But I tell myself there's no harm in ordering it if it's online because you can always go and return it as long as their return policy is good. And I have to be very ruthless with the garment once I receive it to make sure that it fits like perfectly and that, you know, I'm comfortable in it and I'm gonna actually wear it. I've kept so many articles of clothing after ordering them online because I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll wear it, but like I didn't 100% love it, and then what do you know, I never wear it and I hang on to it and lose my chance to return it. So then I'm just stuck with something that I don't like, and it's so annoying. I just used this Hoola bronzer on my cheeks as a bronzer, but then I also use it on my eyes because I'm too lazy to get my eyeshadow palettes out, because you know what, they always break. They break and then they leave like eyeshadow dust everywhere whenever I open them. And so because I don't like dealing with the mess, I just grab my freaking bronzer and use that instead. And you know what? Fuck it, we ball. Okay, also reading all of these like vaguely romantic, fairy, fantasy, romantasy books has made me want to pick up like a true romantasy. So I was thinking either The Bridge Kingdom, I'm really interested in reading, or I want to maybe revisit the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've read the first 2 in the series, and then I kind of stopped at the 3rd because they're all extremely long. But I feel like people either like ACOTAR or they like From Blood and Ash. And I don't like ACOTAR, but I did like From Blood and Ash quite a bit. And like, I know the writing kind of sucks and whatever, you know. It's not like gold tier quality of writing or quality of storytelling, but I don't know, maybe I'm just a Twilight girl at heart, but something about werewolves and vampires. I don't hate it, so I was thinking of potentially picking those up again. But I know the series, people say the series goes downhill, but maybe we'll just have to find out for ourselves. Good enough. I also need to fix my hair. I need to figure out what to wear because it's kind of cold. So if I wear a dress, it needs to be long, and I need to wear probably a cardigan or something with it. Anyway, catch you in a minute. Okay, hi, back from our walk, and I want to do a little audit of the shelves to see if there's anything that I want to prioritize for like the month of May. We have the From Blood and Ash series here, The Crown of Gilded Bones, and as you can see, I've already started reading it. I've actually read like 70 pages. I'm on chapter 5. So I think I want to read this sometime soon. And then we have a Juliette Marillier book, Dreamer's Pool. I want to get to this soon. We have the Frida Warrington books. There's Elfland, and then Midsummer Night. Oh, they're so pretty. And then speaking of romantasy books, I still have to read this. I'm really excited about it. I think it's supposed to be a fun read. So I'm gonna probably add this one to my list as well. And then I don't own physical copies of them, but I've been really wanting to read more Robin Hobb this year. So the only one I've actually read is her Life Ship Traders trilogy, which is these 3 books. But she has like many other series that are all taking place in the same like fantasy realm, and I need to get to those because I think there's like 16 books in total. I have a couple of them on my Kobo, and I would love to get to those very soon. Oh, I didn't even know that I owned a copy of this. This is How You Lose the Time War. This is the same author that wrote The River Has Roots. This is a very good one as well. Oh yeah, this is Book Lovers, but Emily Henry's latest romance book came out recently, which I really want to read. Under the Eye of the Big Bird is still on my list. I need to get to this soon, as well as Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. I think these are pretty quick reads, so I'm probably gonna try to get to those soon as well. They're just very pleasant, easy reads for like going and like sitting in a park or sitting at the beach and reading. Okay, I think a lot of my sentiments stay the same. I have Son of the Shadows, which I'm gonna prioritize next.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
So I'm gonna leave that one out. I also have A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is who wrote The Bridge Kingdom, but this one's like a more Norse-inspired novel, which to me feels like a more wintry read, so I'm probably gonna save this until the colder months. Maybe I'll borrow The Bridge Kingdom from the library in the meantime. Also, The Last Supper by Rachel Cusk. I'm intrigued to read. I think it's a trip to Italy. Yeah, nonfiction. I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for helping me decide. Welcome to my 2025 reading challenge. First of all, I don't like this whole new interface that they're doing for the reading challenges, but I have read 11 out of 50 books. So technically I'm still 5 books behind schedule, and the 11 books that I've read, the only ones that I've physically read have been the past 3 books. So Our Infinite Fates, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, and The River Has Roots. So I think everything else I've read this year has been via audiobook. You know, sometimes you just go through like a 4-month reading slump, and the only thing you can handle is an audiobook. So I'm not mad about that, but the goal for the rest of the year is definitely to read more books physically. I'm sorry that you can see the camera wires over there. I know it's not a very good angle, but it is what it is. Moving on to my reading list. We made this reading list together in one of my first YouTube videos. I'm just gonna add a few things to it. Some of the ones that we picked out from the bookshelves. I actually have a lot of the books that I want to read mostly already listed on here, but I'm just gonna add a few. The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and we're gonna highlight with a little flower some of the other ones that I for sure want to get to ASAP. So Son of the Shadows, Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb, Serpent and the Wings of Night. We're gonna do Kitchen and Under the Eye of the Big Bird. Oh yeah, the From Blood and Ash series as well. So The Crown of Gilded Bones, The War of Two Queens, and then I don't even know, I feel like she comes out with a new book like every 6 months, so there's probably like 100 more books to that series at this point. And now I have kind of like a better focus. Oh, I'm also gonna add The Rag Picker King. There's a few others that I really want to prioritize, like Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson and the Three Body Problem series, but those are kind of like heavy, and I feel like I can get to those whenever. It's not really seasonal dependent. But yeah, and then there's always going to be like library books that pop up that I want to read as well, that are kind of time sensitive because you can only borrow them for about 3 weeks. So those will pop up, it's inevitable, and I will have to get to them. But it's always nice to have like a physical book that I own to keep me grounded and like accountable. All right, so with all that being said, all of that planned out for the future, I think we're gonna leave this vlog here. It's been a week of reading some very lovely spring books. When it comes to replacing my screen time, we didn't completely reach that goal, but it doesn't matter because I think on average I read about 2 hours every day, which compared to before where I was reading 0 hours, I'm pretty happy with that. So I just want to keep up the momentum. I think making time like in the mornings and before bed to read will help me kind of tackle my never-ending TBR pile. It definitely could have been better, but it also could have been worse. I mean, I'm only human. I'm not like a reading machine, and I also am quite a slow reader. So the fact that I was able to read 2 is like, I'm happy with that, even though one was a short story or a novella. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I hope this was at least somewhat enjoyable to watch. I would love to make more reading content. If there's anything you want to see in these reading vlogs, like more in-depth reviews or like spoilers, or you want them to include more books, or maybe like I can do a reading vlog once a month of like all the books I read that month, let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you're reading in the comments. I'm always looking, obviously, for new recommendations, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.